Hey everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Stephanie, and before I get to the review today, I just wanted to mention some of you may have seen my post on Instagram. I will be putting up motivational posts from time to time, so if you are a motivational quote liker, then follow me over there. Or, if you just like some pretty words now and then, also follow me. So the quote is, start before you're ready. Now this quote hit kind of close to home for me, and I felt it, definitely felt it. As you may have guessed after watching my introductory post, I am a planner. I'm a researcher. I'm a planner. I research and then I plan and then I research some more and then I procrastinate and then maybe I do it. Maybe. I research some more. Anyway, so in some situations, sure, it's better to look before you leap, but not when it comes to weight loss, not when it comes to changing your life for the better. In those situations, you cannot get started fast enough. So I'm not ready to start. I'm not. I just started my research into the different nutritional approaches that are out there, or diets, if you will. But does that mean I can't start? Definitely not. No. I will just eat how I think I should eat based on what I know so far, which, contrary to what a lot of people think, overweight people tend to know a lot about diet and nutrition and what you should be eating. It's the following it part that we're not usually so good at. But, we've tried lots of diets. We've read lots of books a lot of the time. So we know more about it than your average person sometimes. Anyway, then as I learn, I will keep modifying my plan as I go. So, ready? Nope. Set. Eek. Go. The diet starts now. Okay, so back to my review. My review is of the documentary That Sugar Film, which, as documentaries go, was actually pretty great and actually entertaining. There was some cool effects and good information. Some parts of it could have stood to be fleshed out a little bit more, but overall it was pretty great. But it also really pissed me off. Not in a this film is bad kind of way, but in a I'm now more informed about this topic, and this new information that you've given me makes me want to choke someone kind of way. I'll explain. So most people have at least heard of the documentary Supersize Me, the one where the guy eats just McDonald's for a month, gains a bunch of weight, almost kills himself. This is along those same lines. The director and star, Damon Gameau, usually eats a no-sugar diet, but during the course of this film/experiment, he eats 40 teaspoons, which is 200 grams of sugar a day. And he does it by only eating supposed healthy foods, things like juices, power bars, cereals, energy drinks, all kinds of stuff with all natural and organic on it. That's one of the things that makes this film so absolutely powerful, is that he's not stuffing himself with donuts or candy or eating teaspoonfuls of sugar, although he does do that at one point to make a point. But anyway, that's beside the point. He's eating stuff that most people think are good for us. He gains weight, of course. He also has radical mood swings, headaches, feels tired most of the time, and develops fatty liver disease. In 2 months, he has basically started killing off his liver cells. It's ridiculous. I'm pretty sure that that's what happened to the guy that did the McDonald's documentary Supersize Me as well. He was messing with his liver because they put sugar in their food too. Surprise, surprise. But we're getting to that. The killing of your liver cells is kind of abstract and harder to grasp for some people. It's something that won't happen to me. You can say that. But the mood swings and tiredness should hit right at home for most of us. Many of us. Most of us have heard that sugar is addictive. It releases dopamine, opioids, beta endorphins into the bloodstream. It lights up the same reward centers in the brain as nicotine, drugs, and sex. But this isn't where the relationship between sugar and drugs ends. A French scientist named Dr. Sergei Ahmed determined that rats will actually work harder for sugar than they will for cocaine. Yes, I said that right. You do not need to rewind. They will work harder for sugar than they will for cocaine. How crazy is that? Sergei and his research team discovered that intense sweetness, quote, is much more rewarding and probably more addictive than intravenous cocaine. I don't even know what to do with that. What made me feel like choking somebody was learning precisely the amount of research and effort that goes into making sure we stay addicted to the sugars that are put into food, which is like 80% of the supermarket, by the way. When it comes to obesity and illness, the food industry have always argued that people need to take personal responsibility for their food choices. Makes sense, right? I mean, that's what we've been told all of our lives. Eat right and exercise. It's your responsibility to do so. But then the big companies that make our food specifically work towards hitting something called the bliss point, which makes something the perfect sweetness for our tongue and incredibly addicting. Even worse, it teaches our children and ourselves that everything should taste sweet. I mean, Pepsi even has a robot that has been outfitted with human taste buds to help find the perfect sweetness for an artificial sweetener. They go around and ask different tribes in different areas what they use to sweeten their food. And so those are the things they're throwing at this, which includes things like bee larvae, beetles. So yeah, that pissed me off. This kind of manipulation should seem pretty familiar. It's what the big tobacco companies did to us all those years ago. For more than 50 years, the food industry had insisted that obesity is caused by too many calories and not enough exercise, which implies that anyone overweight is simply lazy or greedy. But here's the thing. Damon was eating the exact same number of calories on his high sugar diet as he was eating before his high sugar diet. But when he switched to eating all that sugar, he gained weight and it was slowly killing him. So this brings us to probably the most important quote of the film. It's not the calories, it's the source of the calories. So not all calories are the same. Calories in versus calories out? Nope, not true. And your addiction to food may not be your fault any more than being an alcoholic. I mean, addiction is addiction, right? Some people are hardwired, it seems like, for addiction. On top of all this, when you try to quit sugar, your body revolts. Damon had messed up sleep patterns, mood swings, headaches, tired all the time. It took him 1 to 2 months before he felt like his usual self again. The good news, his body did heal. He was feeling decent again 2 months after quitting the sugar. His cravings went away. So by that logic, all we have to do is lock ourselves in a room where we have no access to TV and all the big food companies that are trying to bombard our brains all the time. Food, food, sugar, sugar, sugar. And presto changeo, we'll be better. That's it. That's how we fix ourselves. No. All kidding aside, I think it took him less time than it's going to take some of the rest of us to quit sugar if we were to try. He was eating a largely non-sugar diet before he was used to it, so he had good habits. There are many others of us out there that grew up on processed foods and fatty foods and soft drinks, and we have a lot more habits to break. As we're driving through rural America now, in North Carolina, it's so hard to get any kind of decent food. There are signs that say food exit, but that food is either McDonald's or Taco Bell or KFC. It's impossible. And if you grow up as a kid and this is your only experience of food and what food is, it's little wonder there's a massive problem in this country. Amen. You hit the nail on the head. It's habits for a lot of us. So on top of the chemical addiction that you get from sugar, it's a lifetime of habits that we need to break. breaking habits is hard. Watching this film, though, it did reinforce for me exactly why I'm doing this, which is my daughter. Yeah. Say hi.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. So this little girl won't have the same habits that I have, and you won't have to break the addictions. Yeah, you won't have to break them. You won't. Oh. You little poser. You little ham. You're such a little ham. So for my daughter, it's going to be hopefully easy if I can do everything right. But for me, it's going to be harder. But I can do it. I mean, like I said in my earlier video, I went vegan for about 4 months once. And while it was hard to do, lots of cooking, I still remember exactly how it opened up my palate to the various tastes that are out there. Not everything was sweet, but not everything needed to be sweet for me to like it. Damon did make mention of the different types of sugar that are out there and how they affect the body differently, fructose versus glucose. But there wasn't enough meat really to this information for me to feel like I was comfortable sharing it yet. I'll be doing more research on it and be sharing that in a separate post once I do. And I'll also get into the different types of sugar, high fructose corn syrup, all the different labels that sugar can be hidden under. In other words, I have no doubt that there will be at least one or a couple more posts from me about sugar. It's important and it's everywhere. Watching this film has really made me want to learn more about sugar and exactly how I'm being manipulated by these big food industry companies. I definitely recommend it if you're at all interested. It is, as of right now, in July of 2019, free on Amazon Prime. And hopefully they keep it free because these kind of informational documentaries are great for people to learn about this kind of stuff. I'm not usually an advocate of all or nothing when it comes to cutting something from our diet or life, but this is one of those things that it may have to be applied to because it is so addictive and so hard to quit. Maybe all or almost nothing. You have it on very rare special occasions, and you just have to be really good policing yourself for the next week, 2 weeks, 2 months afterward to make sure that you don't regress, and because it's going to make you want more sugar once you have some. In the meantime, if you do try to quit sugar or cut back on sugar, give yourself a break if you mess up. It is everywhere, and it is hard to avoid, and it is hard to break habits, and it is hard to break addiction. So just forgive yourself and move on. Alexis says, I forgive you. I forgive you, she says. So forgive yourself and move on. Tomorrow is another day. As all of those motivational and inspirational quotes that I will be spewing to you on my Instagram feed will say. But in all seriousness, those do help. I mean, they help me. I see them and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got this. You go, girl. And maybe it's just me, but if they work for you, subscribe to my Instagram. Say, have a good day. Bye-bye. Wave. Good job. Have a good day. Bye, everyone. Subscribe. Can you say subscribe?
Yes.
Say subscribe.
Yes.
Subscribe. And changing your life for the better. There's not, and you can't do that too fast, or just waiting is stupid. So in some situations, sure, it's great to look before you leap, you know. You're backing up, taking a photo of somebody at the edge of the Grand Canyon. Look. Although he does do that at one point to make a point. But anyway, that's beside the point. I just said point way too many times. Bee larva. Yum. Beetles. He did feel like himself again. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Oh, it's been 2 minutes. I feel fine again. Oh, if only. As a side note, stupid pain in the butt bodies